Call to 7:02 p.m. I'll ask Mr. Perrier for roll call.
Chairman Bourget.
Here.
Vice Chairman Burke.
Here.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes. Here.
Ms. Kapiskas and Ms. Costa are both absent.
Would you please join me in standing for a moment of silence and the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Turn this shit off.
Woo. I'll make the announcement. I don't see anybody out there, but for anyone addressing the school committee during good and welfare, please begin with your name and address. Your comments shall be no more than 5 minutes of speaking time and should be in good decorum. Please be aware that the committee cannot respond to you during good and welfare, but may direct you to an appropriate member of the administration team or may meet with you directly after the meeting for further discussion. Is there anyone who would like to address the school committee this evening? Seeing and hearing none, we'll go to recognitions and announcements, and I don't think we have any. This is moving along. So I'll make a motion to approve the April 8, 2026 open session minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Any corrections to those minutes? Mr. Perrier, roll call, please.
Chairman Bourget.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Burke.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Burke. Are there any items that any member want to discuss separately?
Nope.
Mr. Perrier?
Chairman Bourget.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Burke.
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, we'll go to the superintendent's report. Do you have a report for us, Mr. Perrier?
The only item I have is under personnel matters.
Yes.
Just to update the committee. We've hired a grade 8 science teacher. And we've also hired a few senior support credit retrieval math specialists to assist with catch up on seniors graduating. And that's all we really have to report.
Thank you very much. Then I'll make a motion to approve and place on file the personal matters update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Leclerc. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we'll go into the subcommittee reports, and I'll ask you, Mr. Perrier, to give us the finance update.
Yes, so we had the finance subcommittee meeting at 3:30 today. We had a few items on the agenda. The first was approval of minutes, which we were able to approve, no problem there. We talked briefly about the budget, FY27 budget. The FY27 budget is still in development at this time. The plan is to have a budget in front of the school committee at the end of May, the last meeting in May, for their final approval. Also, to give the school committee a heads up, there will be a couple of items coming their way as far as the budget goes. First, there will be a ask of the school committee to approve a 4% increase in the local share for the Woonsocket Education Department for FY27. You can see that on the next school committee meeting. The other item that is going to be crossing the school committee's desk the next meeting is going to have to do with putting additional funding into our medical pooling account. And the reason I'm going to be asking to put some additional money into our medical pooling account, it's going to allow us to aggressively budget medical a little bit more next year. And that in turn will be able to save some positions as we go and we wrap up the FY27 budget. So we're going to budget the medical a little more aggressively, hope that money comes in, and hope that dollar amount is good. If it doesn't come in, we're going to have this medical pooling money to fall back on. And in the meantime, we're going to have a chance to save some positions that otherwise we may have to cut.
That's good. That's a good approach.
So we'll have that in front of you next time for your final approval there. And then we're going to have a final budget in front of the school committee at the end of May. A couple of other items we talked about, we're going to talk about a little more in depth here. I gave a fiscal update, which I'll do in the next section. And then the final item we talked about was invoices from the city in relation to SROs and audit fees, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later as well. I think that just about covers it.
Thank you, Mr. Perrier. Any questions for him? Then I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the Finance Subcommittee update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we'll go into conferences and discussions. Mr. Perrier, would you give us the financial update?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In front of the school committee is the February 2026 fiscal update. Currently, the school district is projecting about $120,000 surplus as of June 30th, 2026. On to some financial highlights. On the revenue side, the 4% increase asked for from the city of Woonsocket for FY26 was only funded $150,000. This led to a decrease in budgeted local revenues of $519,000. 3% increase to the student success factor, which is a component for the state funding formula, was not approved by the General Assembly in June. This led to a decrease in budgeted state revenues of $1.469 million. Due to higher than anticipated billings, Medicaid revenue is projected to be over budget by a little north of $2 million, which is really helping us out tremendously this year. School committee has approved a transfer of $1.97 million from a medical pooling account. This is that medical pooling account that I was just mentioning earlier that we'll be looking to put money back into next fiscal year. That transfer was for the amount of $1.97 million, and we're using that to stabilize both the revenue shortfalls in other areas as well as expenditure overruns. And overall, the general fund is projecting a revenue overage of about $2 million. On the expenditure side, all regular salaries are $1.97 million under budget at this time. And when netted with the employee turnover allowance of $1.35 million, this will put overall salaries $625,000 under budget. Medical expenses are currently $2.231 million under budget. And this is a reason, looking at this, a reason we can tighten up our budget going into next year. So we're looking at our track record here and our past history, and we're going to tighten that up in order to save some things going forward. As a reminder to the school committee, the district does have about $1 million in OPEB funding. Overages and purchase services are due to us being unable to fill some budgeted salary positions. Our finance office has adjusted some salary encumbrances down to offset the hiring of these purchase services. Personal care attendants have been difficult to fill this year, leading to overages of a little over $1.4 million. Out-of-district tuitions are $299,000 over budget, and this number has gone down from the prior month. So again, I commend the special education department on continuing to control these out-of-district expenses. And without their hard work, the budget would be even in a more difficult situation than it already is. Transportation is currently $870,000 over budget, and this is just due to the higher than expected transportation costs throughout the district. Was conversation last year about adjusting state bus routes to save the district money, but it never gained traction. I'm hopeful that maybe some of these conversations will continue in this year's legislative session because I think that will end up saving the district some money. District is currently $974,000 over budget at this time for charter schools. This is due to the Woonsocket Education Department no longer qualifying for additional clawback of funds for mayoral academies. This has increased RISE prep payments from $500,000 last year to $1.4 million this year. And as a side to that, we still have not received our numbers for fiscal year 27. This is a very key component in our budgeting process. So this is another reason we're kind of delaying is just we want to gather up as much information as we can before we have to move forward with any potential cuts. This time, many expenses related to technology and capital improvements are back in the general fund. We are carrying them in the general fund now. If we needed, these expenses can be moved into capital and technology funds as we close out the fiscal year based on other needs of the district. As stated earlier, we are $120,000 to the surplus this time. I do have a few other comments about the budget right now. Last Friday was the final day for schools to order general supplies for the year. They have known for over a month that this deadline was approaching. So at this time, all general supply orders are done for the remainder of this fiscal year. And also, pretty much everything across the board is going to be frozen for the rest of the year. Of course, if we have to do necessary purchases, like repairs for safety, we're going to figure out a way to do that. If special education students need supports that we have to provide, we're going to figure out a way to do that. But anything that's not required from here into June 30th is not going to be purchased. Finance is going to be pushing back hard on any requisitions that come through the close of the fiscal year. And if needed, we may have to go and tap into some technology and our capital funds in order to close out this fiscal year. So we're looking to freeze things out for the rest of the year and hope to push some of these expenses off in the next fiscal year as we close out this fiscal year. We will be looking at open purchase orders. Maybe we can find some open purchase orders that have some additional encumbrances on that we may be able to claw back. But I don't see much in terms of purchases coming to the school committee between now and the end of the fiscal year. That will conclude my update. And if the school committee has any questions, I'd love to answer them now.
Thank you, Mr. Perrier. When you mentioned maybe some open purchase orders that we can close out, do you have a sense as what kind of ballpark we're talking about?
I think we're really just getting into the process right now. I don't really have any preliminary numbers to share with the committee at this time. But over the next month, as we move to our next fiscal update, I do plan on spending some time looking at these open POs. And if there is some money to claw back, we will be sure to close those POs out and capture some of that on our fiscal updates going forward.
Sure. Anyone have any questions, comments for Mr. Perrier? Then I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the financial update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Morrell, would you give us your special education update?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In front of you are the enrollment numbers. They haven't changed much from the last time I reported out. Interestingly enough, sorry, I couldn't get that out. We are still at 1,410 students that we're serving in special education. Our percentage did rise slightly by like 1/10 of a point, but it looks like if you look at the chart, the total number of students enrolled is going down, but the number of IEPs, it's not changing. So the gen ed students are moving or going to other schools or other districts or just leaving the state, and our special ed numbers are staying the same. Going through, we do have 21 students in our Transpro program. We do have a number of students that are graduating out of that program. They're turning 22 in the next couple of weeks. We have currently 123 students in our out-of-district placements, with only 113 of them having IEPs. I know that Mr. Perrier just spoke about the out-of-district numbers. Many of the 113 students, we have a good portion of them that are graduating high school this coming year, as well as a few of them are coming back into district. So we've had meetings to discuss them returning to our school system. We also have about 150 students that are in our pre-K community placements that we also service. Do you have any questions?
Of the 113, Ms. Morrell, how many are coming back and how many are going to be gone? So that number will decrease by, 2?
So over the last week and a half, we've had a couple of the students move out of our district into other districts. We have approximately about 16 to about 18 that are graduating and or coming back to district. So that number should be significantly going lower. And some of the 123 total students, some of those students are the students that are on Ingenuity that are in our programs. But those are the students that are not on IEPs. So the 113 are all students in our out-of-district placements.
So you're looking to lose somewhere around 38 to 40, 20 and 20 leaving, 20 who have left and 18 who are either
The Transpro, so the 21
transfers at 20?
the 21 transport students, those are in our school. There are 18 to 22-year-olds. So there's about 2 or 3 of them within the next couple of weeks that will be turning 22 and exiting the program.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman,
Vice Chair Burke.
question.
Homeschooled, we have 212 students in homeschooled.
Yep.
29 on an IEP.
Yes.
Now, what does that entail? What role do we play? What role does the homeschool play in that?
So some of the students that are homeschooled are still entitled to special education services if they choose to participate in them. We do have some homeschool students that participate in speech therapy and occupational therapy, and sometimes physical therapy. However, counseling usually isn't part of that because counseling is how to, it works on school issues, not home issues, the school counseling. So we don't usually provide that support. And the educational support is a little tricky. We don't typically provide that, but we do provide consultation if needed to parents. But that's if they want the supports, if they qualify for them. Typically, they usually come just for the speech and OT.
So does the student come to our schools? For
Yes.
these services?
Yep.
Or-
Yep.
So we don't have to send somebody
No.
to their home?
Nope. If they want to participate in the services, they have to come during the school day to our facilities.
Now, when they come into our schools, don't we have to have them registered in some way for,
They are registered with
Liability
us. They are registered with us. And typically, just like our walk-in students, our pre-K students that are walk-ins, the parents usually stay on site in the front office area while the student is being serviced in case there's an issue of any kind.
So those students, when you say they're serviced, are they here for the whole day?
No, they're only here maybe a half an hour if they're getting speech or OT services. And it's like once a week.
So the rest of their courses, whatever their programs, that's being done at home?
Yep.
So they're just coming here
For their special ed services that
the
they're.
1, 2, whatever hours?
do we have to provide transportation?
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Then I'll make a motion to receive and place on file a special education update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Costa. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Mr. Notoriani, would you give us the school building committee update?
Thank you,
It's
Mr.
not
Chairman.
special, just school committee update.
Nope, there's nothing special about this, trust me.
Very good.
Yes. So the school building committee met on Thursday, April 16th at 3:30 PM here at Hamlet Middle School in room 124. First item on the agenda was the consideration to approve the meeting minutes of January 23rd, 2026. Second item on the agenda was an update on the previous subcommittee meetings. So there's a subcommittee of the subcommittee that meets monthly to approve certain items. The third item was action items, the first being the water easement and a status update in terms of where we were with the water easement for the new school construction. And the committee was updated that our legal counsel forward over the materials to the city solicitor's office, which will actually be drafting the easement because they felt it was a city project versus a school department. Second item was a review and approval of the exterior finish board, which the subcommittee went through. There are a couple outstanding questions in terms of what we have to approve for some colors, I believe it was, as to whether or not, I believe they proposed a color that was totally inappropriate for special ed. At least that's what the discussion centered on. Third item was a review and approval of the interior finish board, which is, again, the colors in the building. And the fourth item was a discussion and direction regarding the excess soil at Barry Field location, which the school building committee felt it was appropriate to send that to the full school committee, which will be on the next regularly scheduled agenda, which I think will be for May. So, and that concludes the update from the meeting. If there's any questions.
Anyone have any questions?
Chairman, what's the plan still for taking down that building?
The clubhouse?
Clubhouse, yeah.
So as of today, I do not believe there's any funding in the budget to remove the clubhouse.
Wasn't the city going to help us?
So the city did offer to demolish the building. The caveat in this discussion, because of the way I've worded it, is to make sure it's very clear, is we are going to have to pay the remediation costs because we did have to do a site survey in that building. I don't recall the exact deficiencies within the building, Vice Chairman. There may or may not be asbestos in it, or there may or may not be lead in it. I apologize. That's a very good question. I'd have to get back to you on it, but but I do believe there's some materials in there that may need to have some remediation work done first. Then my understanding is the fire department offered to use it as a training location, which basically means they're going to burn it down in practice. And then after that, I believe DPW would then come in and remove the structure. I believe that's what's going to occur. But I'm glad you brought it up because I think that's something worthy of placing on the next school building committee agenda as to where we are with the planning on that. We have to submit a permit to the city building official to get that going. But then we also probably should remind the school building authority that we have to identify money. I know it's not a popular topic here in Woonsocket, or here in the school department right now, but we're gonna have to find money to fund the remediation of that building before we can have it demolished.
Okay, good, thank you.
Anyone else?
Do we have any idea of how much that what you're talking about may
Remediation.
cost? Yeah.
So that's an excellent question. I think that's, again, a good reason for us to bring it back up to the school building committee to figure out through our OPM and our construction management firm as to how we assess or how we ascertain what it would cost to remediate before. I believe the overall estimate to tear the whole thing down, and I would assume, because I wouldn't think they would do this otherwise, it would just not be logical. I would have liked to have thought that they included in the price tag to remove it, the remediation, which if I recall correctly, was around $250,000, I believe, Mr. Perrier?
That rings a bell.
You're in the ballpark.
So I'd like to think within that 250,000 that included the remediation. However, I can't say that with any certainty.
That's okay.
So more to come.
Yes, and I hope
Wanna come on that?
I hope my report was as special as it could be, Chairman.
Anyone else? Then I'll make a motion to receive and place on file the school building committee update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we'll go into unfinished business. The first item we had placed on the table for a couple of times, so I'll make a motion to remove the item, which is a discussion and approval of outstanding invoices from the Woonsocket City Council, specifically auditing invoices and SRO invoices, and we remove that from the table. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Mr. Perrier, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
So this item is now currently before us. And so I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the outstanding invoices from the Woonsocket City Council, specifically auditing invoices and SRO invoices. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Leclerc. Mr. Perry, would you like to discuss these items?
Absolutely. We can take them both in order here. I will start with the SRO invoices first. As you may recall, the city sent us an SRO invoice over for the first half of the year for all the SROs. The amount was $297,395.81, and that was to cover the first 6 months of the SRO payments for the year. The school committee asked me to get some additional backup, so I did gather additional backup as far as the payments go for the officers for the first half of the year. The real reason for that was to kind of come up with a daily rate. And the way I went about establishing a daily rate was to take the information we have in front of us, basically double it to come up with an idea of what the entire salary is going to be for the year. I then took that total expense, divided by 4 officers, and then I divided it by 246 workdays. That calculated out to a daily rate of about $604.46. I received information from the city that there was 169 days of no work happening as far as the SROs go. So 169 days of total absences. This date range was from 8/27 to 4/10. If you multiply the daily rate by the number of days that were missed, you have $102,000, $153.74, 102,153.74. So in order to kind of move this forward and start the discussion about how we really should start paying these, I'm proposing that we take that $102,000 credit off of the invoice of $297,000 and change. You take that credit off, the new balance is $195,242.07. and that we move forward with telling the city that that is what we want to pay for the first half of the year. I think this will be good. I can share my work with the city, and then we can sort of dive into really honing in on how we're going to establish a daily rate, not just for this year, but for potentially going forward as we move forward with the budgeting process. The way I'm looking at it is that there's going to be another 6-month invoice coming to us in the next couple of months. And at that point, after a chance to maybe discuss with the city a little bit more about how we're going to do this going forward, I think we would have one final full year reconciliation where we would recalculate all of the officers' pay, come up with a true daily rate, and come up with an amount that is agreeable, and just knock off the $195,000 and pay whatever the leftover balance is at that point. So I think this is a good plan to kind of move the process forward as far as us getting this dialed in. And I would move that the school committee authorizes a payment of $195,242.07 to the city of Woonsocket as a payment for the beginning of the SROs, with a reconciliation to come as of June 30th when we get to the close of the year.
Comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Vice Chair Burke?
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the invoice quantity, July, August, September. Why are we paying before SROs in July and August?
They work over the summer.
But there's no students.
Oh,
Not that many students in the building.
um,
Not that many, all right? There might be some for summer school.
So since the beginning of the partnership between the school department and the city, we've employed 12 months a year, with the understanding that during the summer months, they would participate in any of the summer programming, either that we ran, or more recently, they started running some of their own summer programming. So the SROs ran out of the middle school a basketball clinic. They ran chess. They ran movie, not nights, but movie days, because they weren't here at night, at the high school. And they also ran Ultimate Frisbee. So those are programs that they ran while they were here during the summer. The other point to keep in mind is during the breaks, that's usually when they take their vacation as well. So the weeks that they weren't running the clinics, I would say a stipulation, because it's not formally written, but one of the understandings is that during the vacation weeks and the summer vacation is when the police officer would take their vacation time, versus during the school year.
Well, they're on vacation this week, correct?
Yes. Yes, we during the vacation weeks, I should also stipulate, is we generally like to have one on, if not the entire time, at least several of the days. So this week, unless they opt not to take their vacation during this week, but for example, this week, I think it was Officer D'Alessio was here. Officer D'Alessio, who's housed out of Villanova, was here this week in case there was anything programming going on or any need. Also during winter storms, we also keep one of our SROs on to assist with making sure that the parking lots get cleared by anyone that might park in the lots and interrupt or interfere with the plowing.
Let me just bring in one point. What the numbers are calculated, we're subtracting the number of days that they didn't work. Correct, Mr. Perrier?
yeah, that's really the point here, is that we're just looking to create a daily rate so that we're only paying for the days the officers are here, and the officers are here over the summer. So we're not here. The finance office isn't here to make a judgment about what the SROs are doing. The finance office is just here to kind of come up with a daily rate so that we can pay for the time that they're
I'm
here.
not making a judgment about what they're doing.
No, I'm just telling you, yeah.
Finances.
Yeah.
They're not here for a full school day right now. I mean, in the summertime, but we paid them for a full school day, correct?
So they work a full,
It's illogical, that's all.
That's what you're
And I'm not talking about, judgments or anything.
No, but we're looking at,
Payment.
but Don, we're looking at the total amount of days, but we're subtracting the days that they didn't work.
Mhm.
So if we subtract those out, that would comprehend what you're talking about, that I don't want to pay them when they're not here.
Mr. Burke.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yeah.
So if you look at the sheet, there's a credit on the first page. It's $102,000. That's a credit for the 169 days they weren't working. So instead of paying the
97, whatever.
297, he's saying we pay $195 because the days they weren't here, which is the 169 days, we've taken that money off the top. So he figured out the daily rate, and to get that money back where they're not here is what you're worried about in the summer and in those days when they're not on vacation.
Right.
That's why that's there, so we could figure out how to attempt to figure out the numbers where we get money back relative to the days they weren't here.
Mr. Burke, may I just add, so during the summer, they are here during the school day. They're here, even though it's not schools in session, they're here. We run the Kids Club program. We run CCF runs programs. We've, over the past several summers, this is the first summer where this dynamic might change that I'm describing. But over the last several summers, we've run a very robust summer school and enhanced summer programming at the high school, at the middle schools, and at the elementary schools. So they participate in all of that. And then further to that, on the days that they weren't taking their vacation time, in August, they have to spend, it's about a good week. Under state law, we're required to have a review of all our buildings by police and fire, and they usually spend some days on that. Certainly, we could look to say, do we want to scale back some time in the summer? I think that's speaking to your question. Maybe perhaps, we don't have 4 on during the summer. Those are conversations I think Mr. Perry is alluding to wouldn't be necessarily, well, it would relate to a fiscal impact. I think it's a discussion in terms of programmatically, what do we want to have them here for during the summer? And I think that speaks to your point. We probably should look at that. I think you have a very valid question on that.
But it seems to me, and I agree with Vice Chair Burke, but it seems to me that if we look at and we decrease the days, hours in the summer, that's going to be reflected in the number of days they don't work. So that credit will only be higher.
Absolutely.
That's when we be calculating it. Here it is for the whole year. This is what you should have worked the whole year. You didn't. These are the days, hours, whatever that you didn't work. And so we're going to subtract that from the top, calculated at the average daily rate.
To be fair, that would be an accurate way to look at this, because when they are out, whether it's in the summer or during the school year,
Yep.
when they are out, we generally don't get a replacement. Although I will, to be fair, say there have been times where we've been short-staffed and the captain or the sergeant will be present at the building for a period of time just to have another body, but that is not the regular practice.
Oh, and also I think that will go into the calculation here. If we do have subs and there's some subs that we've maybe missed, we take those days off and we pay the city for those days.
Can I just make one final
Of course,
comment?
of course.
I mean, please, I'm not making any judgments, okay? But we're facing a fiscal Armageddon, maybe this school year. Like that term, all right?
No, I don't.
And
No, I don't.
I'm just looking at ways to think about how to save some money. So we could have funds available for educators.
I think, speaking to your point, Mr. Burke, with the financial Armageddon heading our way, I think it's going to impact the summer programming. And as a result of that, I think that there's a direct correlation. If the summer program is significantly reduced, then I think that it might be appropriate to have a conversation with the police administration to say, what does the SRO program look like going forward with a reduced budget? So I think those are all appropriate thoughts, in my opinion.
I can speak to what the summer program is going to look like this summer coming up. It's not going to be nearly as robust as it has been historically. Last year was kind of the end of the road as far as we had some extra money laying around to kind of finish that off. And before that, we actually had ESSER supporting a lot of our summer programs. So that's why you had, every school open and we had a lot going on. That's certainly not going to be the case coming up next year. It's going to be very minimal across the board. And so I think things will look different. And I think it'll be maybe a good time to kind of delve into this and see what's needed for the summer.
So I just have a question.
Could you speak into the?
Going forward, are we gonna charge the SROs a daily rate rather than paying them? Because if they missed 100 and however many days, and we're paying them for that for the year, are we going forward gonna keep doing that and then have to ask for a credit back?
Oh, well, we're just going to short pay this invoice right now, and then we're going to continue the conversation with the city about how we're going to really establish a daily rate going forward. You know, as I said before, this will be the kind of the first payment for the year. After some conversation with the city, I think we'll be able to kind of establish how we're going to keep track of absences and really hone in on daily rate. And once we have all that information and the actual salaries worked for all the officers at the end of the year, we'll compile all that. We'll come up with a new number on what the whole year should have cost, and then we'll just take off the payment that we've already made, this 195 that I'm looking to have the school committee approve, and then kind of just pay the balance after that.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we're going to try to move forward with just basically paying a daily rate
Yeah.
as opposed to paying an entire salary.
Yeah, 'cause
Yes.
that makes more sense, I feel like.
Just to keep them separate, I think we should approve each one of these invoices separately.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, just a couple different things, but quick reminder is simply is we wouldn't be having this discussion. The city was paying for the school, the SROs, like I think mostly of the community except for 3.
Mhm.
So that's a big issue there. I mean, we need to have the city take responsibility for those SROs. And Brad, on some of the invoices, some numbers seem a little off to me, a little odd. From quarter 3 to quarter 4, there's what, a $30,000 difference. And you look at just the base salary for the officers on quarter 3 and quarter 4. Looks like there's like a $26,000, $25,000 not discrepancy, but an issue between them. Are we going to be getting some clarification on why some of these numbers are the way they are?
I can certainly reach out to the city and get a little more information. I'm not familiar with how the police contract works. Not sure what those fluctuations would mean, but I can certainly reach out to the city and get a little more clarification as to what the breakdown of those salaries are. And we can definitely include that in our final reconciliation that will come back to the school committee in June.
Because I mean, it seems odd you go from third quarter to the fourth quarter, salaries jump $25,000. It's a nice little chunk of money there.
Absolutely. We can definitely investigate that, and I can get you some answers as far as that goes.
All right.
I think that'll be all part, as Mr. Perry said, and you said, Mr. Leclerc, this will all be part of the review of all the charges we are given by the police, and our review and determination what an actual daily rate should be and the amount of hours that were spent and whatever salaries are appropriate in the circumstance. Then we'll calculate what we should pay and count and look at what we've paid already, and we'll be paying the net difference, which will make sense.
Agreed.
So I'll make a motion to approve payment of $195,242.07 related to the invoices that we received with regards to the SRO invoices. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Leclerc and Mrs. Costa. Any other comments? Mr. Perry, a roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, why don't we talk about the invoices relative to the audit fees that were allocated to the school department?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman. As well, so when this was presented, I also reached out to the city for the backup in regards to how all the audit invoices totaled $376,000. I did look into the backup. Well, actually, let me back up here. There are 2 audit fees on here. The first is the 2022 audit, which we're being charged $30,000 for. That is typically what we've been charged as I've been the finance director here for 10 years. That's $30,000 a year, every year for the last 10 years. So it's been a pretty steady audit fee. City did go through an audit change as of 2023. So a new auditor was brought on board. The thing is with the audit invoices, there's really no differentiation between when the auditors are working on school projects and when the auditors are working on city projects. The reality is, from the auditor's perspective, they're just working on one client. It's the city of Woonsocket, and the school department falls under that. So if you look at the invoice, basically they've tried to pass on 38% of the entire allocation of the audit fees. And then there was an adjustment down to basically $100,000 is what the city is looking to charge for FY23. I mean, I think at this time, I think it's tough for them to justify the $100,000. I think really looking at what was done as far as the audit goes from my end, I think over time, I think the audit fee should go up, and I think we should definitely be paying more. I think we should be probably paying in the range of $50,000 for this FY23 audit fee, just based on what I've seen and what I've done working with the auditors. I really can't justify that, and I think that's kind of the problem with all this, is that nobody can really justify anything at this point as far as who is responsible for what. So it's my recommendation to the school committee that we pay $30,000 for the FY22 audit fee per the invoice, and then for the 23 audit fee, we pay a flat $50,000, totaling $80,000 for both the 22 and 23 audit fees.
I've got some experience in that, Mr. Perrier, having been practicing CPA for a large accounting firm for nearly 15 years. So as an audit manager, as an audit junior partner, I can tell, in large firms, the auditors are responsible to identify which piece of the audit they're working on. If it's divisions, we have divisions here. We have school department, and we have a city. And so it's hard for me to believe that they don't know the difference. We know there was a change in audit firms. So the new audit firm would come in and start from scratch because they would not depend on any and rely on any of the work of the prior audit fee. So they're beginning all over again. Yeah. Now, the problem with the books and records really related to the city. They had issues, whether it was personnel issues. Then there was quite a bit of litigation. There was probably overstated revenues. So there was a lot of work that had to be done on that side of the fence. And and then of course, now you also have to audit the school books. But if I'm the partner of the new firm, I am going to be able to identify what I worked on. You have to. And you have to identify by person, just like we saw the police. They break it down by person. This is what the audit firm would do, because each person probably working at a different rate. So since we don't have all that data, I agree with Mr. Perrier. The $30,000 fee that we've been paying right along sounds reasonable for the 2022 audit. And the $100,000 for the 2023 audit, to me, that's pie in the sky. I think a $50,000 fee, which is slightly high, which is, as far as we're concerned, is very high. It's higher than the $30,000, and I think that's reasonable for 2023, looking back on it. And I don't know if we're going to get any better breakdown when we get later on for the 2024, 2025, because if Mr. Perrier's right, they just say we're working on an audit, whether it's a school or with the city. So I would like to see that breakdown, but we may not get it. But I'm willing to make a motion to authorize the payment of $30,000 for the 2022 audit and $50,000 for the 2023 audit for a total of $80,000.
Second it.
Any questions, comments on that?
Just-
Vice Chair Burke?
The city had to change their audit firm,
Yes.
all right? Something went on with the city that caused them to do that. Were we responsible at all for some of the difficulties of that change? We were not responsible.
The only thing that happened, we were actually working through the 22 audit, and that's when the change happened. So basically, we just kind of had to scrap the work that we did, and it wasn't really a cost. It was a cost of my time, quite frankly, because we were working through, we were pretty far into the 22 audit with the old firm. We had to reset and start again from the beginning. So again, there was no additional fiscal charge to the district, but there was the charge of my time, quite frankly.
So, and a follow-up question, did we have any say in the new audit firm that they brought on board?
The way the audit's always been handled is that the city puts an RFP out. Quite frankly, I've never been involved in that RFP process, so I don't really have any vision as to how that works and how the selections are actually made. But the city has always handled the hiring of the auditor, and the city has always passed on an invoice to us, so we have to pay for our part of that audit responsibility. And that's really been kind of my involvement with the hiring of the auditor since I've been here, since I started here. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mr.
Ms.
Chairman,
Leclerc?
to piggyback off Don, the reason that the audit was redone or a new company came on was no reason that on our part as far as the school department. We didn't have any issues or discrepancies where that caused this to happen. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So, like Mr. Perrier said, he was well into the school department was well into the 2022 audit. New firm comes in. They didn't use the work that had been done.
No.
So they start all over again. So all those fees, so whatever was done for 22, they're doing it again. And on top of that, they had real problems with the city side. And if you take a look at the footnotes in the financial statements for 22, 23, you're going to find a whole list of legal fees, legal issues, lawsuits that really had to be, and a lot of time had to be spent on that with the solicitors and just their own counsel. So all the fees are really related. The high price is all related to the city. There was really nothing that in the school accounts that would have caused the problem. So we've got a motion to,
Mr. Chair?
yes,
Really quick. So moving forward, is it always, like you said, it's always been a $30,000 fee that we've paid? Moving forward, now that we have the new auditor, is that gonna change at all, or is that still gonna remain the same?
I'm not sure how the next year's audit's going to work. I'm not sure what they're going to end up billing us, but when they do send us the bill, I'll be sure to share it with the committee.
Okay. Thank you.
it's not going to be 30. I mean, we're trying to cut it to 50, but it could be higher.
I mean,
But we're going to be looking at it to make sure it makes sense.
the reality is whenever there's a change in auditor, there's going to be an increase in the fee.
Yep.
There's more work. This auditor has to come in. They have to build their audit book from scratch. It's a pretty intensive process getting an audit off the ground for the first year. But I would suspect now that that's been done and this first year's under everyone's belt, I feel like this year's moving along a little bit smoother, and I'm hopeful that the audit fees will reflect that.
Okay, thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Perrier, roll call.
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Next, I'll make a motion to discuss and approve the retention policy for second passage. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second, Vice Chair Burke and Mrs. Costa. Is there any other discussion on this item? Mr. Perrier?
Chairman Bourget,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Burke,
Yes.
Ms. Costa,
Yes.
Mr. Leclerc.
Yes.
Seeing nothing else on our agenda, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:51 PM. Do we have a second?
Second?
Second by Mrs. Costa. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Good job.
All right.